Greetings from JSI Study Center. World Top News is a different initiative from our end. Hope you all are going to enjoy this. You all are requested to enjoy this video without skipping. So, without further delay, let's start our first important news. French study says Smail returns to COVID patients within 1 year. Paris, France. A French medical study has determined that 1 year after contracting COVID, nearly all persons in the study had regained their sense of smell. As smell didn't quickly return to many COVID patients, there were mounting concern that the loss of smell could be permanent. Only 2 out of the 51 persons who had been analyzed had some impaired sense of smell 1 year after their initial diagnosis, a study reported. Let's move to our next important news. Elon Musk looks to begin worldwide satellite internet by September. Hawthorne, California. Starlink, the satellite internet arm of Elon Musk's SpaceX, has said it is hoping to offer global internet coverage by this September. The low Earth orbiting satellite network, which is currently providing beta services in 11 countries, is planning to deploy a total of 12,000 satellites at a cost of $10 billion. In May, Musk said that Starlink has received more than 5 lakh pre-orders for its satellite-based internet services and foresees no technical issues in meeting the expected demand. Let's move to our next important news, please. Mankind astronauts to test dangers of moon mission. Orlando, Florida. NASA's Artemis 1 flight to the moon, planned for late 2021, will have a crew of mannequins to test conditions prior to a human crew making the trip. That mission will mark the first time since the Apollo program ended in 1972 that astronauts ventured into deep space. NASA officials said it is necessary to collect new data because technology, spacecraft, and medical understandings have advanced significantly since the last moon landing 50 years ago. Let's move to our next important news, please. Petitions accepted as California begins recall elections of Governor Newsom. Sacramento, California, with nearly 2 lakh more signatures than required to seek the ouster of California Governor Gavin Newsom. State officials have begun preparations for the recall vote. The next step is to request that the California Department of Finance estimate the costs of holding the recall election, show funding can be secured. The upcoming vote will be California's second recall election in history after Democratic Governor Gary Davis was recalled in 2003, leading to the election of actor Arnold Schwarzenegger. Let's move to our next important news, please. All of Sydney and surrounding areas ordered into lockdown from 6 pm. Sydney, NSW, Australia. All of Greater Sydney, the Blue Mountains, Central Coast, and Wollongong will be locked down from 6 pm Saturday. The enlarged lockdown has been implemented for 2 weeks. Premier Gladys Berejiklian made the announcement shortly after 2 pm Saturday following a crisis cabinet meeting. The new lockdown, which expands from the earlier lockdown imposed on 4 local government areas, including the city of Sydney, will operate from 6 pm Saturday until midnight Friday, July 9. Let's move to our next important news, please. Concerned about forced labor, US bans some Chinese imports. Washington DC. Cracking down on forced labor allegations in China, the Biden administration on Wednesday banned the imports of a key solar panel chemicals from China based Houston Silicon Industry. Separately, the US Commerce Department restricted export to Houston, 3 other Chinese companies, and the paramilitary Xinjiang Production and Construction Corps. The sources said the United States is continuing to investigate allegations of forced labor by Chinese companies that supply polysilicon. Let's move to our next important news, please. COVID 19. Crowds flee Dhaka ahead of strict Bangladesh lockdown. Crowds of people have flocked to Dhaka's ferry terminals to try and get out of the city before a strict national lockdown comes into force. For 7 days from Monday, no one in Bangladesh will be allowed to leave their homes unless in an emergency. As a result, people are fleeing the busy capital city for their homes in towns and villages. COVID cases in the country have surged, many linked to the Delta variant first identified in neighboring India. The latest wave of the various in Bangladesh began about 6 weeks ago. On 15 May, there were 261 new cases and 22 deaths reported. On Friday, there were 5869 new cases and 108 deaths, the country's second highest daily death toll of the whole pandemic. Let's move to our next important news, please. Hot air balloon crash kills five in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Five people have been killed after a hot air balloon hit a power line in Albuquerque, New Mexico, early on Saturday morning. The basket the passengers were riding in detached from the balloon and crashed, according to the city's police department. Witnesses on Twitter described saying the balloon fell to the ground in a completely deflated state. The incident cut off power to more than 13,000 people in the area. The balloon hit the power line just after 7:13 hour GDM or GMT on Saturday. Police spokesperson Gilbert Gallagher said two men, including the pilot and two women, died in the crash. The fifth passenger was taken to hospital in critical condition but later died of his injuries. Let's move to our next important slide, please. Grain list change prompts holiday pricing chaos. The price of flights and hotels for new grain list travel destinations have swung sharply in both directions since the guidance was changed on Thursday. The government added 16 destinations to the list. Travelers returning from these do not have to isolate on return. Destinations include Malta and Spain's Baltic Islands, and some holidays have doubled in price. The Independent's travel editor Simon Calder said airlines have added extra capacity. Initially, when these new flights have become available, prices have fallen and extra supply takes up the demand. Let's move to our next important news, please. Jack Savarity takes us on a guided tour of his new musical genre, Europeana. I'm a Mediterranean boy at heart, says singer songwriter Jack Savarity. It's where I feel happiest. But stuck inside over the last year, he didn't have many chances to indulge that passion. So he started to daydream. Looking out the window wasn't enough anymore. So I had to create this kind of escapism, a holiday, a getaway in my head. As his mind drifted back to childhood, memories of some kissed beaches and swimming off the Italian coast, he started to imagine a soundtrack full of the sounds of Demis Rousseau's Julio Iglesias, Gypsy Kings, Jacques Brel, and Italian disco. Let's move to our next important news, please. Japan may ask Indian Olympians others for daily COVID tests. Japan plans to ask Olympic athletes from India and five other countries hit hard by the highly infectious Delta variant of the coronavirus to have daily virus tests for 7 days before leaving for the Games. A Japanese newspaper said on Sunday. Currently, all overseas athletes are being asked to have coronavirus tests twice during the 4 day period before their departure from the Tokyo Olympics, which are set to start on July 23rd after a year's delay due to the pandemic. The Japanese government aims to put the new rule, which will be applied to athletes from India, the Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Afghanistan, into effect on 1st July. The Omiuri Shimbun reported without citing sources. Thank you very much for watching till end. You are kindly requested to subscribe, like, and share with your friends. Don't forget to hit the bell icon for latest updates from our end. Till our next video, to take care of yourself and have a great moment ahead. Thank you once again.